Good evening, I'm Matt Woodman. This is CTV News at 5. Tonight, road relief, a new plan to ease traffic congestion in a busy Edmonton neighborhood. Budget buster, why the province is now projecting a $6.5 billion deficit. And mall mystery, a new Zellers location pops up unannounced in Edmonton.
CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Matt Woodman.
Traffic relief could be coming to some West Edmonton neighborhoods. A city councillor has come up with a plan to double the number of lanes for a number of high-traffic, high-congestion arterial roads. CTV's Connor Hogg has more.
At rush hour time, it's backed up past Winterburn sometimes, so.
How would you even get around, for goodness sake?
Well, that's the thing, June.
Yeah.
People who live and work in Lewis Estates say traffic troubles are a part of life.
Every day's an adventure.
The neighborhood has a number of single-lane arterial roads that have become busier as the years have gone by.
People can be stuck in traffic for half hour, 45 minutes for what should be a 5-minute drive.
Area Councillor Andrew Knack has created an amendment that would reallocate already earmarked dollars for different West End roads to add lanes to 3 sections designated as particularly troublesome. Winterburn Road southbound from 100th Avenue to 92nd Avenue, westbound on the White Mud from Lewis Estates Boulevard to east of 215th Street, and a second westbound lane on part of Weber Greens Drive.
A legitimate, real issue that is being faced by folks in the communities outside the Handmaid. How do you say no to something like that?
Anybody who drives to the West End can feel it. You can feel the unbearable traffic.
River Cree CEO Vic Mahajan says Enoch Cree Nation supports the upgrade. Many of the roads in question border its land, and he says the extra lanes will ease traffic to and from Enoch and the casino. He says Enoch leadership is contributing a third of the cost of the White Mud expansion. The province and the city will pay the rest. Mahajan says the improvement will benefit anyone who finds themselves in the West End.
No one wants to be sitting in their car majority of the day or a certain portion of the day. So it just gives better access to the city and the residents of the city to use some of those facilities that we are building.
Relief on the horizon for drivers, with sympathies extended from those who don't.
I just stay in my little house. That's it.
Connor Hogg, CTV News, Edmonton.
And Councillor Andrew Knack's spending amendment is being debated by City Council right now. A vote on its approval is expected later tonight or tomorrow. Edmonton Fire Rescue says a fire at a business this morning started outside of the building. Crews were called early this morning to a fire at Chateau Lighting in the area of 99th Street and 43rd Avenue. It took about 7 hours to fully extinguish the flames. While fire officials say it started outside the shop, they don't know how. No injuries were reported. The extent of the damage is not known. A former junior high principal in Edmonton has been charged with sexual exploitation. Police say they were told earlier this year a girl had been sexually assaulted by one of her teachers a number of times between 2004 and 2008. The teacher was later hired as a principal at a different school. John Paul David Copper was arrested yesterday and released with conditions. The 51-year-old is not allowed to visit any public swimming areas, schools, playgrounds, or libraries. Edmonton Public School says it's aware of the charges and it will continue to cooperate with the investigation. A boy has died in hospital after coming into contact with a wire from a downed power line earlier this week. The boy was airlifted to hospital Tuesday afternoon from the Warburg area southwest of Edmonton. He was in critical condition at the time. Mounties say the boy has since died and his death is not criminal. Occupational Health and Safety are also investigating because it happened on a work site. The search continues for 2 people who went missing after their canoe capsized on Upper Kananaskis Lake. 2 other people were rescued Tuesday. A man and a woman still haven't been found, and RCMP say the search has shifted to a recovery effort. CTV's Terry Fikowski has more.
Emergency crews had to suspend their operations yesterday due to high winds, but returned early this morning and have just been scouring the lake and shoreline for any sign of the missing man and woman who haven't been seen since the canoe they were in capsized on Tuesday. A dive team conducted a sonar search of the lake, seeming to focus much of their efforts around an island. Parks Canada is also assisting, using dogs to search the shoreline. RCMP and Kananaskis emergency crews were called here around 4 o'clock on Tuesday after afternoon after a canoe capsized with 4 people inside. RCMP say they were part of a group of 7 international visitors camping in the area while on vacation. Now, bystanders jumped in to help and were able to rescue a 30-year-old man and a 34-year-old woman, but couldn't save another 34-year-old man and 33-year-old woman.
They were in this canoe, 4 of them. That's a lot of people in a canoe. Weren't wearing life jackets, unfortunately, and the canoe went into the water ultimately with 4 of them going in. There were local people that were also enjoying the water. There was a boat as well as a paddleboard that went out to try to help them when the canoe did capsize. They were successful in recovering 2 of them.
Now, this incident comes roughly a week after a similar incident in K Country where 2 people drowned after their canoe capsized on Barrier Lake. RCMP say it's a tragic reminder about the importance of water safety, including always wearing a life jacket.
Alberta is projecting a $6.5 billion deficit in its first quarter economic update. That's more than $1 billion over its budget forecast. The province calls it a perfect storm of lower oil prices, weaker global demand, and higher spending on health, education, and public sector wages, paired with population growth pressures. Alberta has lowered its oil price forecast to $63 US a barrel, cutting into revenue. Economists are encouraged by increased oil production and the Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion, greatly helping narrow the price gap between American and Canadian oil. The province says it will dip into its contingency fund to deal with higher costs. $700 million will be used for wildfire efforts and disaster relief. Another $750 million will cover other increases. Taxpayer-supported debt is projected to hit more than $84 billion. The Canadian Taxpayers Federation says that amount alone is enough to build 3 new hospitals.
They got to figure out a way of managing healthcare without it breaking the bank. Because if you take a look at this budget, it's increasing in costs still, year over year over year.
Albertans want our government to be frugal, provide the services they need, and look for efficiencies and opportunities to speed up economic growth and stability. That's exactly what we'll do.
The finance minister says housing starts and consumer spending are stronger than anticipated, showing some signs of resilience in the economy. The Minister for Assisted Living and Social Services is calling out the federal government for its rollout of its Canadian disability benefit. In a letter posted to social media, Jason Nixon says the application process is convoluted and duplicative, burdening Canadians with disabilities and the medical practitioners who serve them. He adds, quote, "I am once again calling on the federal government to provide automatic enrollment to clients of provincial disability programs, including Albertans on AISH," end quote. Inclusion Alberta feels Nixon's letter is disingenuous as the province claws back the benefit for Albertans who apply.
Trying to say that you're advocating on behalf of people with disabilities when you have no intention of allowing them to keep the money, right? And to maybe have, lift themselves a little bit out of poverty. It just doesn't feel like it's in touch with what are really the issues for Albertans with disabilities.
The minister's office says Alberta has the highest provincial disability benefit rates in the country, and they continue to expand and improve these supports. Several award-winning books are set to be removed from Edmonton Public School libraries for containing explicit sexual content. A former Edmonton School Board trustee was sent an internal document with a working list of books flagged for removal. A Handmaid's Tale, written by renowned Canadian author Margaret Atwood, is among them. So is Aldous Huxley's Brave New World and Forever by Judy Blume. It comes after a ministerial order by the Education Minister. The former school trustee has serious concerns.
It's pretty hard to think of a book like The Color Purple, for example, and say that's a pornographic novel. Does it include, sometimes upsetting content about, sexual assault? Yes, it should, in terms of what the story it's telling. I don't think that we should be always saying that we shouldn't have these conversations with youth. We should.
The Public School Board would not share the list of books with CTV News. The board chair did tell us staff worked over the summer to ensure only books that met the province's criteria would be removed. She says the board has concerns and voiced opposition before the order was issued. The Education Minister says it did not provide a list of books to remove to the school division. He says he's asked Edmonton Public to clarify why these books were selected to be pulled and will work with them to ensure the standards are accurately implemented. The Canadian Severe Storms Laboratory says wind-driven hail damage in the Brooks area last night was among the worst their teams have ever documented. Researchers say the August 20th storm affected a large swath of land between Brooks and areas to the north. It's about 80 kilometers long and 11 kilometers wide. The group sent teams to document the damage. They say hailstones were up to 70 millimeters in diameter. Winds were between 120 and 165 kilometers an hour and lasted 20 minutes or more. All buildings with west-facing plastic siding suffered 50 to 100% damage. Even vapor barriers were destroyed. There was heavy damage to asphalt shingles, metal roofs, and trees, and crops were completely wiped out. More temperature records are expected to be broken as the current heat wave stretches into the long weekend. Even before noon, people headed to spray parks to cool off as the daytime high climbed above 30 degrees. Environment and Climate Change Canada says a ridge of high pressure has parked itself over the province with at least 300 communities under heat warnings. 3 records have been broken so far this week for daytime highs, with more expected heading into the hot, long weekend.
The other thing that's so immense and crazy about this is not only is it long, it's late, as I've already described, but it's intense. I mean, the warmest temperatures of the entire summer are right now. You're in the midst of it. Today may be the warmest day in Edmonton all summer. I mean, 34 degrees. That's 14 degrees warmer than it should be for this time of the year.
By the end of the weekend, Edmonton will have had at least 14 days with temperatures above 30 degrees on record this year. The average is 4. As we've been discussing, another hot and warm day out there with another daytime high above 30 degrees. Jackie Perez is filling in for Josh Clausen tonight. Jackie?
Well, the heat wave continues to blanket most of Alberta, including Edmonton. Now, yesterday, 33 degrees, breaking the daytime record, and we could be in for another record-setting high for today. Taking a look at the conditions for later this evening, around 10 o'clock, 25 degrees, so not much in terms of relief, but there is some partly cloudy skies. It will clear out by the morning, though. Morning lows about 16 degrees, calm winds as well. You might want to squeeze in a run before noon, because by the afternoon, we're getting to a daytime high of 32, maybe 31 degrees. So temperatures still remaining in the low 30s. The heat warning is still in effect for most of the province. How long will this last? Well, we'll have those details and a look at your long-term forecast in just a bit.
All right, Jackie, thank you. Coming up next on CTV News, Ready Zeddy, what appears to be a new Zellers location pops up at a mall in Edmonton.
It's a soft launch. They haven't made an official announcement.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
You're watching CTV News at 5.
A classic Canadian store appears to be opening a new location in North Edmonton. It's unclear who owns it or what it will look like, but as CTV's Evan Kenny explains, it appears Zellers is returning.
It's not an official announcement by them. It's a very soft launch. They're opening quite slowly.
It's the launch of a Canadian shopping staple, Zellers. According to Londonderry Mall's parent company, Layad, the store is opening tomorrow.
A lot of home goods and various clothing for men, women, kids. They'll also, what's pretty exciting is they will be bringing back the Zeddy teddy bear.
The shop will be on the bottom level of the space taken up by the former Hudson's Bay store. Zellers was owned by HBC, which did resurrect the brand for a short time. Earlier this year, Canada's oldest company and its intellectual property was sold to Canadian Tire, including the Zellers slogan, "The lowest price is the law." However, in a statement, Canadian Tire says its purchase did not include the Zellers brand. Regardless of who owns it, some Edmontonians are happy it's returning. What are your thoughts on Zellers coming back?
I'm super excited. That's my era. I grew up going to Zellers, so super excited. It's always been, I don't know, cheap place to shop, and yeah, it just reminds me of being a kid again.
I like it. I used to shop at Zellers lots before they went away, so I'm glad to hear they're coming back.
Layad couldn't give away too many details, like if the store will include a restaurant. It does expect more people will come through Londonderry Mall to see it for themselves. Evan Kenny, CTV News, Edmonton.
Edmonton's food bank is helping its clients fill their bellies and their wallets with a program to help them find jobs. Dawn Lohr has been volunteering at the Edmonton Food Bank for 32 years. In search of a new challenge, Lohr began teaching English through the food bank's Beyond Food program. The program helps new immigrants learn new skills in order to find jobs.
To go to school even, you need to know English. And you need to know English well enough to be able to understand instruction on a job.
Anyone can join the Beyond Food program, regardless of whether they use the food bank. Still to come tonight on CTV News, welcome to the jungle. We visit a century-old Alberta farm where you can pick your own produce.
There is nothing more beautiful than having my daughter chomp on cauliflower like it was an ice cream cone.
Out there in Edmonton, sun's still shining and the heat's still beating down. Of course, that comes with dry conditions as well. CTV's Jackie Perez has your full forecast. Jackie?
Well, it's scorching heat continues to blanket most of the province, but the good news is that we are expecting some clear, sunny skies, so little in terms of precipitation. There is, however, by Friday afternoon and early evening, that just south of Edmonton, west of Lloydminster, there is a little bit of a chance of isolated showers developing. It is expected to move quickly, though, because by the time we get into our Saturday morning, into our Saturday evening, we're in for some clear, sunny skies, and again, that heat sticking around for yet the next couple of days. Little relief, though, as we head into our morning. The morning lows about 13, 14 degrees, 13 in Fort McMurray, Cold Lake as well. Slave Lake sitting at 14 degrees at Grand Prairie and Peace River. Morning lows are going to be about 12 degrees, and you want to pay attention to that because as we look towards the daytime highs, there's going to be a 20-degree difference for places like Peace River and Grand Prairie, where temperatures will get up to about 32, 33 degrees. Looking at Lake Labesh, 31 as well as in Fort McMurray. Things are going to start to cool off as we get closer to the southern parts of Alberta, where there is a little bit of cloud cover. So the heat warning still remains for most of the province, but it has lifted for Lethbridge as well as Medicine Hat, where temperatures are already sitting in the mid-20s. Here in Edmonton, we are expecting temperatures to get up to the low 30s as well. As we look for our evening for 10 p.m., about 25 degrees, partly cloudy skies, 16 to start things off for our Friday morning, and then 22 by noon. Sunshine will remain well into the afternoon, where we'll see a daytime high of about 32 degrees. So yeah, the heat warning sticking around for the next several days. And we did see a couple of days of some record-breaking heat. Will we see that for Friday? We'll take a look. The record set in 2023 was 32 degrees. We are forecasting a daytime high of 32, so we may even meet that. Maybe we'll break it, but then as we look to Saturday into Sunday, things are going to start to cool off, so we may not hit those daytime highs that were set in 1940. On Saturday, 32 was the daytime high, but we are forecasting 30 degrees. When we look towards Sunday, 30 in 1940 was the daytime high, but we're expecting temperatures to hit 29 degrees. As we look towards your Monday, Labor Day Monday, things will be below 30 degrees, so possibly the heat warning will have lifted. 28 the daytime high, and then when we get back into our Tuesday back to school, 25 degrees. To get closer to what we see for this time of year, where the average high is 21 degrees.
The family farm in Red Deer has been operating for decades. One of its highlights is providing a hands-on experience for visitors. CTV's Miriam Valdez-Carletti has more on the farm's legacy and how it stays connected to the community.
The Jungle Farm in Red Deer has been in Leona Staples' family for more than a century.
Since then, it's just come through the generations. So I am the fourth generation that's been farming on the exact same land.
While the name might suggest exotic animals on site, it's actually a produce farm growing all kinds of fruits and vegetables.
Zucchini and potatoes and peas and beans and broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage and beets and Swiss chard and corn.
Their farm operates by letting people come and pick their own produce, a highlight for children when visiting. What do you like about being on the farm?
Picking strawberries. I like picking carrots. Strawberries look really good, so I'm excited to eat them.
Staples says their strawberry fields are a fan favorite.
No better strawberry than a strawberry picked at 4 o'clock in the afternoon where it's warmed from the sun all day, nice and red strawberry, and the juices drip out of it.
A hands-on experience is important for Staples. She says having people pick the produce they eat, especially children, gives them a better understanding of where their food comes from.
I just had a note from a mom who was in our ABC program who said, there is nothing more beautiful than having my daughter chomp on cauliflower like it was an ice cream cone.
Just to give them the experience of picking berries out in a farm instead of buying it at the farmer's market or in the store.
Education is part of the Jungle Farms mission.
It's a huge part of Alberta to have the farms available and here to pick fresh produce and support our local economy.
You don't need your own farm to flex your green thumb, giving people a chance to pick their produce right from the source. In Red Deer, Miriam Valdez-Carletti, CTV News.
When we return, how a local organization that helps people with developmental disabilities is honoring Joey Moss.
CTV News at 5 continues.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
Coming up on CTV News at 6, the Edmonton Public School Board says it will send home a consent form to confirm female student athletes are eligible to play. This is to comply with the UCP government's Fairness and Safety in Sport Act. Also tonight, a look at some of the local businesses benefiting from our hot streak, and a tiny mobile music venue from Alberta makes its way into the hands of a big name. Those stories and much more on CTV News at 6 with Jeff Hastings. A local organization that helps people with developmental disabilities is honoring Joey Moss by renaming a long-standing fundraiser.
I love it. You got it. Keep going.
The name change was celebrated today at the Joey Moss Memorial Golf Classic. Winifred Stewart's Empties to Win initiative will now be known as Joey and Friends Empties. Moss attended school and found employment through Winifred Stewart before meeting Wayne Gretzky and becoming a staple in the Edmonton sports community. Organizers say it feels fitting to name the fundraiser after Moss.
He had friends that were the Oilers, the Elks, but he also had lots of friends that lived at Winifred Stewart where he lived. And those folks, too, need access to employment opportunities, so I'm going to take a chance on them. And what we're sure of when people do that is that it's going to be good for the employer and also good for the person.
Joey and Friends Empties picks up recyclables to support Winifred Stewart's group home program. They collect about 7 million cans and bottles a year. That's our show. Thanks for watching. CTV News continues right